This is All Things Writing, and I'm your host, Brian the Writer. Have you ever wanted to find out more about what goes on in the writing world? Well, stay tuned. On the show, we're going to interview some amazing authors and some amazing people in the world, and heck, I may even drag you along with me on my writing journey as well to see how things get done. Anyway, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This is All Things Writing, and it starts right now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to, probably bring the actual camera out so people can see me, huh? Hello, everybody. This is, I suppose this is All Things Writing. This is going to be an All Things Writing length thing instead of like a 5 minutes with Brian. We're not going to make this too terribly long anyway. Wanted to do a little bit more on the editing scene of as I go through and kind of make changes so you can sort of see what I do and why I do it and those other kinds of fun things. So a couple people reacted to the last video I posted, so I figured, why not? Let's just play with it and see how far we get, and we'll talk about it. So you can see there's highlighted words, and those highlighted words a lot of times are words that we don't want to see in the finished manuscript. I will tell you that the reason they're there in the first place is because as you're writing that first draft, I tend to want to write to get to the end. I don't go back and edit. There are some people that do and totally understand why. But the reason I don't is because I flow better that way. The storyline rolls a little bit better if I don't stop. So I try not to. I try to keep my writing in chunks of time so that I can continue doing the work, and I don't stop to edit. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about what we're looking at here. This is a story where the main character is actually a reaper. He's not the Grim Reaper. He is a reaper, and he has just wandered into I should show you guys this this passage. I absolutely love it. Let me back up here a little bit. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, here we go. From behind the door, a surprisingly feminine voice replied, "Come in, General Casimir." I opened the door with my left hand while keeping the blade in my right hand at the ready. What I saw threw me off guard to the point that I worried I'd walked into another trap. The walls exuded pink, not just any pink, but a sickening color of Valentine's Day decorations horribly overdone. In front of a huge television, an equally pink and rose-patterned couch lay waiting for someone to sit and watch some horribly tacky Hallmark movie. The air smelled of potpourri, reminiscent of the 80s if you could condense that craze into one scent and then aerosolize it directly into your nose. Across the back of the couch and on every chair, knit blankets and cushions added the element of terror. Is this what hell looks like? I absolutely love that passage. It's one of my favorite things about this storyline. So our hero, Casimir, he's not really a hero. He meets Kavir as somebody who's been looking for. So back to my point. All right. So you can see I reached out with my own powers, probing and testing her. Something felt off. Reapers are, bad word, reapers carry. Reapers carry their own strong powers within context. Compared to a human, we easily be confused for an almost impervious, super powerful god. Super powerful god. See how I did that? See how I got rid of the R? Now, interestingly enough, when we go through and we find these words, a lot of times what will end up happening is you actually end up adding more information, more and I think of these words, the is, are, was, were, be, being, been, and then I think of those words as being kind of lazy. See, so it says, however, in the afterlife, we are simple foot soldiers. We amount little more than simple foot soldiers. See, we've added more flavor, more variety. Now, that's not to say it's not going to get cut out when the editor does his thing. In this case, his thing. When that happens, then you take suggestions and you do what you got to do. Now, like I said before, in the case of like dialogue, we're not so worried about that because people talk that way. Although I'm not going to say has been, I'm going to say must be some sort of mistake. And let's get rid of that because we're not highlighting that. No color. There we go. Let's see. The process wasn't painful. At the same time, having your memories ripped out of your mind doesn't feel great either. Somewhere on the corporeal plane, I sensed my body writhing as she took my memories and added them to her own. And then I realized what she was. Was is another one of those words we don't like. Her true nature. That newly gained facts sent a shockwave through my body. Excuse me. Sometimes the issue I have when I'm editing for these words is I will fall down a rabbit hole, so I need to be very careful. You need to be very careful when you're editing for these kinds of words. Don't get sucked back into your own storyline and you end up fritting around an hour and a half working with a paragraph. It can happen. Let's see. Well, shit. Well, I will be damned. Okay, that's fine. Problem there. It's dialogue. But strict rules of the road. I should have gone prostrate in the presence of an ancient god. You'll notice we're not capitalizing God here because we're not talking about the God. We're talking about a God. My dear General, being an omniscient is fine. True is okay. However, I do actually read these over, and I encourage you to do that too. Whenever you are writing and you're going through these words, the is, are, was, were, be, being, been, take a look at them and make sure that even your dialogue is strong and you can't beef it up a little bit. In this case, so true, but my way is just more efficient. Besides, do you really think a Titan? I like this better. So, do you really think a Titan habitually waits around for permission? No, I take what I want and then I move on from there. Don't make me regret my decision to only make copies of your memories. I could have left you wandering the streets like an escaped lunatic. At this point, Casimir knows he's in the presence of somebody who could, with a snap of her fingers, make him evaporate. So he has to learn some manners. Casimir's not in the habit of making manners. I will tell you that about him. Let's see. God's metal affairs of man, even in the afterlife, is generally frowned upon. Try to get a little profile. So I'm keeping the is here because the character of Metis in my story is very that is the way she speaks. However, never forget that you can take some of these words and you don't always have to say like it is, she was, he had. You can play around with combining the words and making them a little bit more neat and tidy on the page. You also combine it. I think also it's really imperative that when you are writing like that, you make sure and you are mirroring how people really, really speak. So like nobody would say, I wouldn't say she's powerful. That's for certain. I would say she's powerful. That is for certain. She is powerful. The is being almost accentuated by the speaker. In this case, let's see. Now here's an interesting problem. So you see where it says here, she is powerful. That's for certain. She is powerful. We've repeated a line. We can't do that. See, even by a God standard, that kid has too much game for her own good. A weird set of DNA and two gifted bloodlines resulting. And two gifted bloodlines resulted in a child born with exponential powers. There we go. That's a little bit better. No mortal should have that kind of power. Can you imagine a teenage girl with that kind of power? No one would be safe. There we go. All right, let's see. It was very clear. So now in this case, like I said, while the word were is okay in dialogue, the issue here is that this is not how we would talk. You wouldn't say, oh, it's clear you were never married, or you never were married. You would say, oh, it's clear you never married. Makes a little bit more sense to me in terms of the flow of that sentence. So we're going to change that up a little bit. Let's go back down here. Share is an innocent. Is this fine? We'll keep that. Again, with the second of the ises, I'm going to leave that because it is the start of a question. There should be a page break there. There we go. Okay. On to the narrative portion. Let's see. The first idea suggested where I could find Sarah and her father. She let me know that if I succeeded and completed my mission to save the girl, she'd restore Amy Cobbler's mind and sanity. Amy Cobbler's mother. Mother has completely lost her mind. Let's see, we don't have any yellow, so we're good there. Always remember to hit save. There's an old joke. I'll stop to tell the joke because I like this joke. It was one of my favorites. So one day up in the afterlife, Jesus and Satan are arguing about who has better computer skills. And this had gone on for quite a while, and God finally got tired of it and said, okay, the two of you, I'm going to issue a challenge. I'm going to give you 2 days. Computers, exact same computers. I'll send you over there. Jesus, you to that corner. Satan to that corner. I want you to sit down, and this is the project I'm giving both of you. Gave them the exact same projects and said, okay, I want you to do this. I want to see who does the best jobs. So Jesus and Satan went to work, and they're like creating spreadsheets and PowerPoint presentations and Word documents, and there's lightning and fire flowing everywhere, and it's quite a spectacle. And they get to the end, and Jesus and Satan are done, and they said, okay, I think we're almost the end of our time now, and they can see the seconds running down, and all of a sudden, boom, power goes out. No power. You hear Satan screaming, hitting the computer. No, 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 no. Jesus doesn't say anything. Well, the power comes back on. And Jesus calmly reboots the computer, hits print, and Satan says, "You cheated!" He says, "No, always remember, Jesus saves." Haha, I love that computer joke. Anyway, so yes, remember to save your work. I actually know somebody, a fellow writer who lost an entire chapter because they did not save. Not a position you want to be in. All right. It's an odd phraseology. Okay, so my instructions to end. We are right here. My instructions to end her life could ensure she remains solidly on our team. In this case, on Hades' side, since he controlled the underworld. However, Metis, through her own words and odd phraseology, offered another solution. I still lacked. There we go. We'll just go with that. What her resolution consisted of. For cryptic messages suggested. Okay. There we go. Let's go down to the next one. As is not a good word to use at the beginning of a sentence in general. It's lazy for one thing. So let's see. Several, capitalize it. Oh, I know what was wrong with my computer. I had a problem with my computer earlier. My shift key was stuck. I think I need a new keyboard. Anyway, clear to me as I approached. There we go. Stood around in the mix. Undead for the most part. Adding to the crowd. See how I got rid of that as? Crowd's numbers. How about that? Crowd's numbers. I need to learn to spell. There we go. Numbers. There we go. Crowd's possessive numbers. Okay. Perhaps more disturbing. I sense the great Pythia. Pythia's presence bothered me more than any other being. Well, so now it says being when it's not. It's being is a bad word, but in this case, we're not talking about being. We're talking about a noun. We're using it, in the noun form here. So we're just gonna ignore that. Let's see. Sarah didn't simply possess a powerful spiritual weapon. Her soul could form a powerful there. Let's see. Soul of a child, being. So see, here's the difference. We're not using being as a noun here. We're having the other form of the word. Got to do something with that. We got to do something about that. The soul of a child forced to wage war for the rest of eternity likely might even constitute a crime bad enough that Zeus himself would have to act. A true afterlife war. All right, that's good. Well, that's pretty good. You can see some of the things we do, some of the reasons why we do some of the things we do in writing. There's always reasons to do everything, but in order not to make this too long, I think I'm going to stop there. I hope you enjoyed this little kind of like behind the scenes. How do we make the magic work? How do we do the editing? How we do the other things? Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video and you have not hit like, please hit like. Remember to follow me. I appreciate it. We will talk to you all later. Keep writing. Keep writing. I'm talking to you. Keep writing. All right. Bye now. I want to thank you once again for listening to this episode of All Things Writing. As always, this is your host, Brian the Writer. If you liked anything you listened to today, please remember to hit that like button and follow me. It's super important that you do. Also, if you like this video, do me a quick favor, drop me a line, leave a note in the comment section, whatever. I would like to know if people like this format and if I should do more of these videos. I don't have to. I can go back to just doing author interviews or whatever else you like. Remember, this is your show, so I am happy to do just about whatever you want me to do. So anyway, have a wonderful week, a wonderful rest of your day, and wherever you do, this is a reminder, keep writing, ladies and gentlemen. Those words won't happen if you don't sit down by the page and make them happen. So, this is All Things Writing, signing off.